Hey, y'all. Listen, welcome into the building. We got a special Thursday for ya. You know, I'm here with my boy, Roy Ear from Roy Ear's World. Okay.
Cheers, people.
You right. I guess the drink cart definitely was open tonight, honey. I
Listen,
you.
after these two episodes, I mean,
Ooh.
I had to like woosah. I had to woosah.
Woosah, woosah. Well, listen, everybody, as you're coming in that building, and thank you for reminding the people to hit that like button because that's your ticket on this train ride. Come on, Michelle, choo choo. Because I'm telling y'all that tonight we have with a special treat for y'all. And the treat is that we actually watch and we're watching. Let me take that back. We're watching the 5-part docu-series Dear Mama about the life of rapper Tupac Shakur. But they also focus heavily on his mom. I want to say, don't you know Roy and me in words, Alfini Shakur?
That's how I took it, Alfini.
Alfini. Yeah, so they focus on Tupac and his mom. It's a 5-part docu-series on FX, but it also is streaming on Hulu if you have Hulu. So I would say so far, there's mixed reviews on it, but I would definitely say if you are a Tupac fan and you want to get to know him and how he ended up becoming the personality that he was towards the end of his life, it is definitely worth your time to watch it. It is not pretty much going in any kind of sequential order, so to speak, because you got to imagine that the footage is just clips of different footage that they had of him and different, people in his life telling the story. And let me say this. Thank you, y'all, for the choo. Okay, we
Yes,
on this
choo
train tonight.
choo.
Okay. I'll say this, that the director who actually created it is created Menace to Society. And him and Tupac actually had a major falling out. I don't even think they were friends, towards the end of Tupac's life. So a lot of people was kind of criticizing the fact that this director actually did this. But prior to their fallout, and he describes it like, I do like the way that the director described it. He was like, we had a 5-minute fallout that kind of tore down our whole long-term relationship that we had, but we'll get
Yeah,
into that when we get into that right here.
yes.
So a lot of great things I learned from this documentary, and we only saw part 2. And just to give you a heads up, the episode 1 and 2 we're doing on my channel. We're doing 3 and 4 on Roy's channel. You know how we do when we read our books and we do these little series. We bounce back and forth to show the love and share the love, okay? And then we'll end it over here with episode 5. If we don't squeeze in episode 5 with 3 and 4, we'll see how we feel. Because me
Yeah.
and Roy are kind of the same with that. Be like, child, I stopped at 3.
Let's go.
Or just do that this week and we'll hit the other one next week. And I'll be like, okay, all right. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get into this. And Voyer, I'm kind of start us off, and we'll do how we do. And if y'all watched it already, throw it in the chat. I think the last episode drops this Friday coming up. And it comes on, they're showing it every Friday at 8 p.m. Is it right?
8. I had it pulled up. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yes, 8.
Every Friday, 8 p.m. Okay, Eastern Standard Time on FX. But again, if you have
FX,
Hulu,
or you can catch it on Hulu.
yes, you can catch it on Hulu. So Roy is going to start us off, and again, this recap is episode 1 and 2, and they're all about an hour. Each episode is about an hour. So go ahead, Roy. So let's get this thing started. And if y'all watched it already, drop in the chat. Let us know if you watched it already. If you did not, we're going to get into this. So go ahead.
So, first of all, thank you, Diva, for allowing us to come on and do this on your channel.
Of
I love
course.
you. But this whole series, now, first of all, I'm gonna open this up by saying I am not like a big hip hop rap person.
Okay.
So Tupac was not really on my trajectory, if may. And so this really opened up my eyes to not just his music. I've heard his music, know some of his songs, but the really behind the scenes of Tupac and how he grew up and just where he comes from. So this first episode was called Panther Power. And this first episode really just breaks down. We started off when Tupac was 20, and he's talking about just coming, he had just moved to California from New York. And he just came from New York. And so he had to move there because his mom was in the Black Panthers, one of the high-ranking people. Things had happened. They got into a court case. It was just a lot. So many people passed. And so she kind of fell into substance abuse. And so she was struggling with that. And so he moved on out to California to kind of get away from everything that his surroundings had been put in. And Diva, I love that kind of through every segment of the first and second episode, they related the songs that he has to how it related to what he was going through at the time. And so they just really kind of talked about how his life was kind of a roadmap in his music of where he was, what he was going through, and what he wanted to see happen. So that's really what I took from this first part. They opened up with the song, of course, Dear Mama, that came out in February 21st of 95. And it was on the top billboards at number 2 the last week of February and number 1 for the first week of March. So I just wanted to shout that out because I did not know that. And
so let me add to your conversation really quickly. So Tupac had sometimes, there's a lot of families that grow up like kind of the family is broken, right? So it was his mom kind of, raising everybody. And by the way, I do like rap and listen to rap, but I was always what I would guess I would consider a soft rap person. Like I like the Will Smith Summertime, when saying parents just
of course, like you like Will Smith, of course.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. That's my type of rap. But I also, like LL Cool J, Mama said knock you out. So I was never into like the hardcore rap, but I would listen sometimes. And there are definitely, JL said he's more of a Biggie fan. There are definitely, a lot of Tupac songs that I listen to and I understand because I only understand because of everything he has gone through, that he went through, in his short life. Yes, Malika said Tupac was a true poet, 100%. And by the way, let me throw this in there. He was a trained ballet dancer. He wrote poetry. He was an actor.
Yes.
So there's so many layers to him. And he had a softer side. And ladies out there, I want to see if you kind of relate to this. So he was a good guy, so to speak. But every time he would approach ladies or girls, they would be like, oh, you too soft, you too sweet. And they wasn't into that. And all of his friends that were, like kind of hardcore, they was getting all the ladies. So that started the turn in his personality, because since all his friends were like kind of like thugs or whatever, and they was getting the ladies, he started getting like them. So and then he would get the ladies. So I kind of wanted to throw that in there. But go ahead. But before we continue on, y'all said nah, Will. See, don't do that. That's why Will Smith, parents just can't understand. And y'all gonna stop playing, because don't tell me everybody here, when the summer hits, as soon as a little sun comes out, people love that song by Will Smith, Summertime. Can y'all tell the truth and Shane the Devil out there? Then don't y'all love that song? Jam to that song to this day. Now, come on, let's tell the truth out in these streets, okay? You're getting jiggy with it. Come on, JL. So what y'all not going to do tonight is y'all not going to play Will Smith rap career early music out. You're not going to do that, okay? But like I said, throw in the chat your favorite rap artist, since we're covering this Tupac document. Come on, that's what. See, I love it. See, the people got to tell the truth now. Yes, I love Summertime. I admit it. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Don't do that, JL. We're not here for that tonight. What we're not gonna do is that right there, okay? That's what we're not gonna do, okay? See, come on, Leo. Summertime was my joint, but go ahead, Roy, yeah, because I'm just saying.
Yes. So they opened up, Tupac's eldest cousin just got out. And so, Tupac wanted to be a part of the crowd. He was trying to be with the fam bam, hang out. And
So
his
wait,
cousin
let
was
me
like,
let me add this for you. We got to talk about all the people. There's so many people in this documentary that
I
are
was trying to
speaking,
find
right?
the list of the repertoire people, and it's not
It's
ones
it's a
of the
it's a
same
ton.
group.
It's a
Right.
ton. Mike Tyson's in it, but we're back up to his two cousins. That tell kind of the opening story, which was so darn messy. But
Mhm.
it's significant to his life, right? So he
Yes.
had two cousins in the beginning that kind of lead into the story of what happened with Tupac. So the cousin had just got out of jail, but Tupac was already a rapper at this point. And
Mhm.
so the family, and I don't know why they did this, good God, they got the cousin tickets to go down to Atlanta to the show. And the cousin who just got out of jail was a whole hot mess and just went down to the show and helped wreak a whole bunch of havoc. But go ahead, Roya. But before you continue, listen, that's why, come on, Malika. Okay, yes, it's cookout music. You cannot be at the cookout with the kids playing no Tupac music, okay? You can't really play Biggie music, but guess what? You could play LL Cool J and
I'm
Will
so
Smith.
dead.
I'm just trying to tell you the truth. Come on, MC, like, come on now, let's reminisce up in here. But go ahead, for you. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm gonna shut up for a minute.
No, you good.
Yeah.
So, long story short, cuz come down there, they get into some mess. And so, the police or security was having issue with Pop smoking his joints, and endorsing or indulging in his, substances. And
Mhm.
so ended up, leaving the club. And so as they were leaving, they stopped and seen that a white gentleman was beating up on a black guy. And one thing that really bothered Tupac was violence upon his own people. He just could not take it, the way that he grew up and how he believed and what he stood for. It was against it all. So, he gets out the car to try to, help out with the situation. And so the cop ends up punching or it wasn't a cop, excuse me. The guy ends up punching, the black guy and falling to the ground. And so he threatens to pow pow Tupac and his crew. And so Tupac says, lifts up his shirt, he about thug life. He don't run from nobody, okay? And so, he pow powed at the car, pow powed out the window. Tupac asked for his pow pow, and the rest was history from there. And I feel like right there is when his kind of violent use of pow pows and his violent behavior began in that stage, and he pow pow back out the gentleman.
He did. And they talked about how he always, had a notebook and a pen and pad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He went to a school of art, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he had all of this talent within him. And to bounce back a little bit to his mom dealt with substance abuse,
Mm-hmm.
but his mom was extremely, extremely intelligent and did some amazing things. Go ahead, Freya.
One thing that I noticed while watching both of the episodes is how much their background stories align and resemble.
Yes.
He went to a school of arts. His mom went to a school of arts. He was into reading and, very smart, and she was just, her sister talked about that. Glow talked about, they're from North Carolina down
Mm-hmm.
here,
Mm-hmm.
and they moved up to New York and started a new life. And it was kind of a eye opener. They had not smelled certain foods, they had not tasted certain foods. And I don't think they really understood, that segregation was still a thing kind of up in the north. Because back then, Diva, they said moving up to the north, things will be better, especially versus living in the south.
Right.
And so his mother ended up getting into a school of arts, but it didn't really work out too well because she was around a bunch of rich, white people, and she just never felt like she fit in. And fitting in was not enough for Athena. She just she wanted the same as everybody else. It was equal opportunity for her. And I think that is what birthed into Tupac, because she desired that for herself. And so when you desire something for yourself, in my opinion, and then once you birth someone into the earth, you birth that same desire that you had into them. And so he was kind of a stepping stone of where she wanted the world to go, and through his eyes, if you may.
Yeah. So I am Leo. Yes, yes, yes. She defended herself in a court case,
Mm-hmm.
honey, and won point blank in a period. I'm a very intelligent lady. Now, I will say this: the docu series. I wish it was a nicer flow.
Yes, it's
So
very.
I'll do a little flow for you when it comes to the mom.
Mhm.
So they part of in part 1 and 2 with the mom, the kind of story they told is that, you know, she had all these kids. She was a single mother. You know, Tupac dad left. I want to say that he said that they had different fathers, you know, some of the brothers and sisters or whatever.
Mhm.
And so the mother, she fell into, you know, substance abuse. And when she fell into substance abuse, there was a time period where she went to jail. She went to jail, and then that's when she kind of met a Black Panther in the jail, if I'm remembering correctly. And I want to say she met somewhere along the line, she met who was also a Panther, um, of Tupac's stepfather, and that's the last name that he has, Shakur. It's the stepdad's last name. It's not.
La Bomba, I believe his name was. I got it in my notes somewhere.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, I don't remember. I can't pronounce his first name. So she met the stepdad, and so that's when she became a Black Panther. When she became a Black Panther, she kind of straightened out her life, right? And
Mhm.
she was doing a lot in that Black Panther organization, so to speak. Yes, he took his stepdad's name. He sure did, Shakur, right? Because you know, his dad just wasn't in his life. Okay, and he chronicalizes that in the song "Dear Mama," right? And so when the mom came out, she listen, this is the part that shocked me and kind of why I wanted to give her timeline. She is responsible for the original. Okay, her and some others. You know, they may have revamped it a little bit to date, but when you go in the hospital and you see the patient Bill of Rights, well, holla to Alfina, honey, and the people in the Black Panthers, because she and you know other people in the Black Panthers are the ones who created that. Okay, so people would come to the Black Panthers and pretty much was his biological father from Louisiana. I don't did they really mention that,
They
Maria?
did
I'm
not
not
really
sure.
speak much on his biological father because he got a lot of his upbringing from his stepfather. You know, not to cut you off, but his mom really spoke on how Shakur, oh, I wish I could pronounce his name right, but how his stepfather,
Mhm.
taught them, that the Black man is strong, he's powerful. And she saw that, Mr. Shakur brought those positive aspirations to Tupac. And that is how he ended up, becoming Shakur and following in his footsteps, because they taught from the beginning that the Black man, he's everything. And you got to lift them up. You got to encourage them. You got to put them
Mhm.
forward, to be the best that they can be, because the world is going to beat us down. And that's what they've been out here doing, beating them down.
Yeah. So they were responsible, and the way they was responsible for it is because people in the community would come to them because they wasn't able to get the proper care in hospitals and at doctors. And
Mm-hmm.
so Alfina, Tupac's mom, she actually went there, walked down to the hospital because a mother came to her and said, listen, my child has sickle cell. I
Mm-hmm.
took them to the hospital and they was like, oh, they'll get over it. It's just a cold. It's just that, whatever the case may be. She walked the mother and the kid to that hospital and told them, you're going to take care of this child. And if you don't, you're going to have a whole problem in this hospital and you don't want that. And I'm kind of paraphrasing it, right? And they, took care of them. So from that point on, when anybody in the community had issues, they would go to the Black Panthers, they would go to her. And all of the Black Panthers that are still alive that actually encountered his mother, they speak very highly of her. So go ahead, Rhea. What do you want to add to that?
So, you know, really, you can't really talk about his mom without, speaking on the big presence that she had, a part of the Black Panthers. I mean, she was one of the only female to have such a large position in the organization. She trained, from the ground up. She taught the people what the Black Panthers was about, what they believed in, what they stood for. And I think, as Tupac got older, he began to try to put those things into place in his, society and where he was going. And his music was a part to help to spread that message, and, going kind of into episode 2, you see where they talked about a young man who powed a police officer, and the family, the widow of the police officer, was suing Tupac, his record company, because of his song. I can't remember what the song was,
We
but
got to look up this song because a 19-year-old actually took a cop's life. And
mhm.
he said that, and those of you that really know Tupac, maybe y'all remember this story. When the kid got arrested and had to go to trial, he wanted to say that the reason why he did it, he was listening to the Tupac song. I gotta look to pull it up to see what song it is again.
I
And
know.
so then afterwards, I want to say the widow of the police officer sued the record company that produced the song and named Tupac Shakur in the lawsuit also. So it was so messy, but they do have clips of him actually speaking in that lawsuit. I could look it up, Roy, if you want me to.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
can't find where I wrote it at. I got some.
Mhm.
Listen, y'all, I got like pages of notes because it was just so much going on in this show. And I'm a person, I try not to miss nothing, but and that's what I go back to, Diva, how his music kind of followed through his career and what he was going through in his personal life, and it reflected. And really, he talked about his songs, they were portraying what was going on in real life stories. And I
Mhm.
think that was the issue, because he was telling real life stories in songs that young people were buying. It was an issue for, in my opinion, the government, because they even had in an article that 70% of hip hop music is bought by young white people, young white individual that pow that police officer, and then took the, try to, his defense team is what was said, try to put the blame on Tupac and his team. um so that was like wow to me. And kind of from there on, he began to kind of take on the burden of being responsible for Black people. He took on the burden of, you know, I have to be the change in order, or I have to make the change in order to be the change. And it was just, it was a lot. It was a lot for him to be so
The
young.
mic is acting up a little bit right here.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. For him to be so young and to carry such a heavy burden on, his own back, to feel responsible for a whole community of people. I couldn't imagine what that's like. And even after he blew up and became famous, Diva, they talked about, him struggling even more, because in his eyes, he was trying to help the community and be for the community. But really, there were so many people jealous of his success, jealous of him coming up and blowing up. And so he went to a party with him and his team. A fight broke out. A young boy named Quide was pow, and Tupac just took that to heart. His manager Layla said from that point on, he just never came
It
back to
was
his.
never the same. He was never the same because he probably felt responsible because it was his concert, and then people, they blamed it on him.
Yes.
It's like, these artists, they're not 100% responsible for everything that goes on in their concert. I mean, you come and you come to perform, and if people are acting crazy, while you're performing, how is that all your responsibility? But he took that on really heavy and it weighed on him. But he also turned into, I feel like he turned into a person that he wasn't originally, like that wasn't his original persona, so to speak.
Mm-mm.
He just took on this thug life mentality, and he started to live it to the fullest, because at first I didn't remember or know that he was a part of Digital Underground,
Mm-hmm.
that group. And Digital Underground was not that hardcore, rap like that. And it was like when Tupac, started to move away from that and become, this thug life type of thing. I think that was part of his, downfall. And then also when the community wanted to find people to protect him when he was going to concerts and doing stuff like that, they had people from gangs, okay, the clip, what is it?
Ku
The
Klux
Bloods
Klan.
and the I forgot the other group. The Bloods and that
Oh,
gang.
oh, oh, yeah. You
And
know, I don't know nothing about that now, honey.
yeah,
Sorry.
me, yeah. I it was in the documentary, but it was the
Yeah.
Bloods and whatever
The
that
Crips and the Bloods. The Crips
the
and the
Crips
Bloods.
and the Bloods that were actually, protecting him. So I feel like energy for me is a big thing. Yes, Miss Wilson, Travis Scott got blamed, for the people acting out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that you become the people you hang around, so to speak. Um, and I think him hanging around, like even though the gangs were protecting him, I still think he started to take on like that gang, that thug life. And when you want to write thug life across your abdomen, you're bringing that energy into your life. Just like I'll say with what is her name, Black China, how
Mm.
she removed that tattoo off of her body because she said ever since she put that tattoo on her body, it brought nothing but darkness into her life.
Yep.
And she removed it.
Yep.
And I think it's the same thing. If you want to write across your belly thug life, then you probably going to have a whole thug life. I mean, thoughts become things.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
And like, I'm sorry, y'all, that I'm skipping around everywhere, but like we said, this wasn't really in no traditional order, if you may. So I kind of want to move into where Tupac broke down, not broke down, but talked about, getting ready to graduate high school. He's going to school 8 hours a day. He working 40 hours a
Mm.
week at the pizza place. Unfortunately, the generation of his, they kind of raised themselves because mom and dad were so busy working. At the time, a lot of their parents were kind of indulged in substance abuses. And so, even Layla said that Tupac struggled with his truth, his smile. He put that smile on his face to hide behind his truth and what was really going on, on the inside, and that he was really broken, because he had been through so much. So, yeah, your thoughts
So
on that?
him and his group of friends were all latchkey kids, right?
Now,
And
what's that
anybody
mean? Because I didn't know what that was.
latchkey kids mean that your parents are not home. You had the key to your home, and you would, when you got home from school, you would open the door yourself, because there was no parent home to open the door and welcome you once you got home. So
Oh.
that's what latchkey kids. But he talked about how he would go to school during the day, and he had a job at the pizza shop, as Roya was saying, and he literally worked 40 hours a week. Can you imagine, as a child, and he said, and our family was still hungry and poor. So yeah, so that's a lot, right? You are as a kid trying to help out because your mother's out there cracked out. Okay, you're trying to help out, and you're going to work at this pizza shop at night and go to school during the day. Now, there's also a piece in there where they talk about that Tupac asked one of his friends to drive his mother to the rehab because she was going to go to the rehab to get help.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think he always, because listen, at the end of the day, his mother was the only thing he had left because the father was gone. So imagine your mother's the only thing you have left, but your mother's out there cracked out. But when he wrote and I hate, I don't mean to skip really quickly to this, Maria, but when he wrote this here, the song Dear Mama,
Mm.
his mother was so touched by that song because his mother said, I knew he forgave me for everything that I did and took him
Mhm.
through when he wrote that song for me. Because when there was one scene, I forgot what he did, but something happened. He went to jail. And when he went to jail and his mother came to get him, he gave the mother the song, and it
Yeah.
was Dear Mama.
Mhm.
And she cried and she was so broken, like heartbroken, but so happy because when she read it, she knew that he forgave her. I mean, it's a
And,
lot.
and clean her life up for the next 5 years in order to spend them last 5 years with him. I mean, she really sacrificed just as much as he sacrificed. And I think that that was the bond that they held, is that they were always willing to do whatever they could to help one another first, and then to help their community second, and I love that. um they kind of try to put on Tupac, him, allegedly having mental issues or being bipolar, and Aunt Flo shut that right down. She said, no, he wasn't crazy. He wasn't bipolar. He had everyday human experiences. He had human emotions. But then on top of the human emotions, let's put on top of that being, raised in a community where all you see is, substance abuse and homelessness, and what else do you expect people to turn to when that's all you see? And so fortunately enough, his one of his better turns to was poetry and
Mhm.
music, and really writing out what he's seen, what he experienced, and allowing not just the people of his community, but the world to hear what was going on. Perfect example. The 12-year-old who had a baby in the bath at the bathroom, I think it was, and put the baby down the chute. Did you get to that part, Eva?
Yeah.
I mean, though he was telling the truth. He was giving facts. And that's one thing that I think that society does not like, is when the true cold facts are put out there and it
Mhm.
exposes what's really going on here in America. And I think, kind of going into the FBI and everything, if we may, I
Mhm.
think that is why they made such an attack on his family, because they opened the eyes to the people in the community of what America was giving them. One of the gentlemen stated, in the Civil War, we gave 186 black people to fight. We didn't get our freedom. In World War One, we gave 350,000 black men to fight. We didn't get our freedom. In World War Two, 850,000. I mean, how much more do we have to give in order to get what y'all brought us here for in the first place? Freedom. That's what you told us.
Yeah. The thing is, I did, there are a lot of people that grow up in poverty, that grow up around drugs, that grow up in impoverished neighborhoods, so to speak, right? But they manage to not, turn to those situations, if you understand what I'm trying to say. So my thing is, I do understand what Tupac was saying, right? When we can say talk about it, where you I understand what Tupac was saying, but this I understand too. Just cause you're in the jungle don't mean you have to become of the jungle.
Mm, mm.
So there are a lot of people that grow up in those situations. There's a lot of people that were latchkey kids, okay?
Well,
Um,
but see, I think he tried. I think he tried. He tried being that nice guy. He tried being the sweetheart. He tried, and the people played him to the left. They played him out.
but you know what though, Roy? There's a lot of guys out there that will tell you good guys come last. They
Well,
will tell you, that y'all ladies, y'all claim y'all want a good guy, but then when we come to y'all kick us to the side and y'all want the bad boy, right? But all of those good guys don't turn into a roughneck, so to speak, just because the females are rejecting the good person that they are. People to this day, they clown Russell Wilson, right? That's Sierra's husband's name.
Mm-hmm.
They clown him. But the thing is, he loves her. He took on her son by someone else, and he's given her an amazing life. So good guys will always get a bad rap, so to speak. But I don't think just because you get a bad rap, you got to be strong enough not to turn into something different because of what somebody else is saying you are. I am who I am, and I'm going to remain who I am. And nobody's going to turn me away from who I am because they don't like who I am. You understand
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? I'm not going to be that weak that because you don't like, I'm not going to morph into something that you want. I think Robin said it best the other day, right? When we talked about relationships, she said, my question that I would say to a mate is that who I am right now, would you be able to, if I never changed, my hair never grew, I never lost a pound, and she went on down the list, would you still want me? And so if I'm a good person and the people I keep running into, they want a roughneck or whatever, that around the way girl, I'm not going to become that around the way girl just so I can get with you. You understand what I'm saying? That's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to remain.
Look, come holler at me, I will be. No, let me stop.
So yes, somebody said, okay, DGF 627 Shakur, that last name. He was the young tortured prince. I agree with you. That police abuse seemed to have profoundly changed him. I agree with you. So let's jump into that really quickly. The first thing we saw in this documentary, and I think, I don't know if it was part one or episode 1 or 2, is he was going to the bank to get money out. They said he was jaywalking. They came up to him, the police. They asked him his name. He told them his name, and the police just had all kind of energy, but he also gave energy back.
Mm-hmm.
And he admitted to that, right? But he is kind of like one of, well, I'm sure there was many others, but I would say he's definitely one of the ones where he got roughed up by the police. He said they put him in a chokehold and he passed out. He said they mocked him when he woke up and he really couldn't breathe.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. And when I heard that statement from him and I was listening to the documentary, it just really did something to me, because I said, even before George Floyd, here it is, you got a man saying, I can't breathe. And it was like, imagine how many others are out there that we just don't know about and didn't get to hear about, but they had this same similar situation, and they probably was lucky enough to live.
Yeah.
Like, unfortunately, George Floyd did not. So when I heard that, I was just like, and he had all kinds of bruises on his face as a result of this brutality. And because he verbalized, because in this part he got from his mom, right? Because his mom was a Black Panther. Because he verbalized himself in a certain way, they don't like that. It's like, you can't express yourself. They're going to call it talk back. Yes, it's triggering, very triggering, right?
Yes. And
Very
and
triggering.
that's what it gave me when they played that part. It brought me back to George Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
And it gave me the mind frame of, wow, like nothing has changed even from then until now, because
Right.
that was just what, 2 years ago, 2022, 21.
Oh, I don't remember exactly. You're talking about
21.
Floyd. Yeah.
But yeah, it's very triggering. It is triggering. Grab your tissues, keep them
Yeah.
by your side, because it's a sad story. Well, I don't want to say it's a sad story.
And no, you can say that, because it is a little sad, because you had this young man. He has been gone longer than he lived. So
Yes.
he has been gone 27 years now, because he only lived 25 years. And
Mm-hmm.
that's sad. And if you do, what's 25? You know me and math for you. Don't get me started. What's 25 and 27? Well, that's like
Let
50.
us know in the comment section, please.
Okay, 25, 27, 25 and 25, 52.
Okay.
52. So that means I didn't realize that. So Tupac Shakur is 1 year younger than me. That
Mm.
man should still be here.
Mm-hmm.
But, as a result of this thug life, so to speak, he's gone. Okay. So over 27 years ago, thank you, Malika. She said, everybody's giving us, they helping us out with the math.
That's
That's too
right.
funny.
Thank y'all.
Yeah. So, 27 years ago, he has passed. And it's so sad. And I'm so tired of hearing about all of these young artists. A lot of them happen to be in the rap game, who lose their life prematurely due to violence. And it's so unfortunate, because the talents they have within them, it would have been so amazing for the world. But I will say this too, though, Roya. Unfortunately, the path that he was on, it was leading down that road. It's very sad,
Mm-hmm.
very sad. But go ahead. What else did you want to add?
Shout out to Joanne Davis. We got a first time listener, Diva, and she is enjoying the
Oh,
commentary.
thank you, Joanne. You
Love
want
it,
to know what's
Joanne.
you
Please
want to
hit the
know
like
what's
button.
yes.
Subscribe if you like what you're hearing. There's plenty of content here.
Yes, yes. Joanne is my mom's name. Oh, so hey, Joanne. Speaking of George Floyd, Lord forgive me, but Carolyn Bryant, may you not rest in peace. Miss Wilson.
Why you put that
You
up
know
on the
what?
screen? You knew I was gonna laugh at
Yeah, you know what? Because I didn't know. I saw George Floyd, and I was like, you know what? Let me do this here. Joanne, Diva, you're really a good show. I love hearing your comments. Absolutely. Oh, thank you, Joanne. I truly appreciate that. So, let you know what? Let's just say this really quickly. We don't want to get off the path here, but since Miss Wilson brought it up, I will say this: that's another sad story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they didn't want to take her to jail and press charges, because they probably knew she had limited time left. But it still has nothing to do with justice, and maybe we got to add that to one of our trending topics stories. So Suge Knight made sure that would not happen. I do wonder, because we didn't watch yet episode 3 and 4. We're gonna watch it, between tonight and the weekend. But
What did he make sure didn't happen? I'm sorry.
well, because she's saying that he is one. She called him Suge Knight, but she talking about Suge Knight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He made sure that Tupac wasn't going to
Oh,
like,
okay, okay.
yeah, like be here on this earth that long. It's so
Well,
sad.
he's serving his time where he belongs. So,
Yeah. But go ahead.
you know what? And then I kind of wanted to dip my toe into this as well. Now all of this is kind of surrounding the 1991 interview with Tanya Harding. And so he's just kind of breaking down his life story, what's going on. And so one of the questions that she asked was he upset? Was he angry? And so he admitted to being upset. He admitted to being angry because of what was going on with his mom. There was a brief story. I'll kind of briefly touch on it. The police showed up to the house. They had a match lit in her peephole and said it's a fire. She opens the door. Pow pows are facing her, telling her, let's go, get out. And his friends and family and things like this were happening to the members who were in high power of the Black Panthers. And so kind of leading out of that, we walk into his fame life, Diva, and we're walking into poetic justice and him working with Janet Jackson, and how he feels about being this young Black man who is entering a place of power almost. And so, he said he didn't feel like he was in a place of power. He felt like he was in the place of pain. Pain was his main place of comfort because that's all he knew. And that just kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, Diva, we kind of talk often, and I've
Mhm.
had a very blessed life. We both have had a very blessed life, and I just cannot imagine growing up with just continuous pain and sorrow and heartache continuously around me on a regular basis. And so, he spoke on the fact of him wanting his mom to be his PR, and I thought that was major because people did not really understand and know the brilliance of his mother and all that she had done. So, thoughts and opinions on that, if you like.
He just had high level respect for his mother,
Mm-hmm.
even though she went through a struggle with the drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew the intelligence of his mother. So that's the respect I have for him. Like, he just knew like the intelligence of his mother. But I think he took on a lot. And I think to me, yeah, still love him as Tupac. I think for me that anytime anybody operates from a space of pain,
Mm.
it's gonna show up in everything you do, and it's gonna wreak havoc in your life.
Yes.
Just to do a correlation here, Jonathan Majors, he
Mm.
spoke about his pain and his anger from, his absentee father. And what you don't resolve will hurt you.
This for you, Best IBK. I know earlier in the chat you wanted Diva to touch on Jonathan Major, so this for you, boo.
Oh, yes. Oh, honey, let me tell you. So, when you don't resolve something, it's going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
You can't bury your pain. You can't bury your sorrow. You have to resolve that. I'd say this a lot, and probably I should write a book. I shouldn't even be giving anybody my title. But you know what? Your feelings need a home. Whether they're feelings of love, and that's why the world says, people are meant to be with somebody. You're meant to
Thursday, April 27th, 8:47 p.m. This is Diva's idea.
have you're meant to have a mate. You're meant to have a mate. So that way your feelings of love and affection, you have someone to share it with, right? When there is, that's why they talk about, apologizing to people, because you got to resolve your conflict. And they will always tell you that, say accepting somebody's like doing forgiveness is a gift for self versus the other person. And why
Mm-hmm.
is this a gift for self? Because if you harbor that pain and that hatred towards somebody else, you're hurting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're not hurting another person. They out there living their best life and probably don't even know what they did to you, or they forgot what they did to you. You're still pissed and they're good.
And not only are you hurting yourself, but you're also hurting other innocent people that don't have nothing to
Nothing
do
to
with the
do with it.
situation.
Nothing to do with it. You speaking facts right there. Nothing to do with it. And so that's what's going on with that Jonathan Majors. You're angry with your absentee father
Mm.
and is wreaking havoc in your whole life. This man can act. This man was about to shut this world down and show a whole lot of black inner city boys that I came from nothing and look what I did. And in
Well,
the blink of the eye, it's all destroyed and gone.
mm,
Right? And the same with Tupac. This boy had in him, born with it, because of his mama.
mm,
Okay, born with it. He had in him so much intelligence. Now, let's say this. They show a video when he was 17 at the art school that he went to. If you hear him talk as a 17-year-old, you
he
would be
said, I'm
like,
already grown. 18 just tells you that you're grown, but I'm already grown. I already got this. I'm his eloquency,
yes,
his I, he has been trained. I don't know who his teachers was, but thank you
yes.
because
I think it was just in him.
it was in him. Well, like I said, Mama birthed it in him because even Snoop Dogg, he talked about how Snoop Dogg was from the West Coast. Tupac came down from New York to the West Coast, And he said that Tupac just fit right in, even with his quirky hairstyle, his different clothes, whatever the case may be. Wherever setting you put him in, he was able to adapt like that and, just go with the flow. And I think that was an advantage for him, but also that's where a lot of his hate came from and why a lot of people didn't like him, because he was able to transition and transcend into what he needed to be at the time of that, specific situation.
Yeah.
So,
He also had the Candy Burris syndrome, though, because they said that, when Tupac loved you, he loved you. But when he didn't like you, he ain't had no love for you whatsoever. He got vicious and mean with it. Okay. Trying to tell you that's what the people said in the documentary.
people Diva told me the other day that I got the candy spirit.
Candy spirit, okay? Can't be doing that. You gotta forgive the people. I'm just saying, okay, not to get off.
Cut them off, y'all. Stop fooling with these people. Cut them off.
Cut them off. So Best IBK, Best IBK. You said Jonathan's girlfriend restraining order is an act of love? Question maybe. I'll address this really quickly. You want to know what's very sad about? Well, I don't want to say sad. You know what's interesting about this is because if he really did it, do what you got to do, and it's a possibility. I don't know, and people don't go crazy. I'm not trying to put anything in the atmosphere about this man, but if he's going through what he's going through, and his character, as they say, is really what it is, we don't know if he's calling there, perhaps saying a whole lot to her every day about how she messed up his life, even though it was his own actions. So you see what I mean? So maybe she had no choice but to get it because Danes was getting a little hot, heavy, and heated. But in terms of for him, when I heard that, I was like, his words are just crashing down and burning. But I also said in my video earlier, if y'all want to go check it out, but I also said that it just doesn't look good that not one person has come up in his defense, not even his baby mother. And in addition to that, if you ever watch those documentaries on serial killers, I can't say the word on YouTube. If you ever watch those documentaries, even on there, you will have people that will come up and say, he was such a good person. I'm shocked that he is the one accused of doing all of this. He was such a good neighbor. We used to eat dinner at his house and who. And so for this not to be the case, not one person coming up and speaking on his behalf, is kind of interesting. And I know Jonathan, what's his name? What's our boy name? Michael B. Jordan. I know Michael B. Jordan probably just is like, listen, I gotta keep my money over here and do Creed 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I can't get involved with all that.
Yeah.
But that
Michael over there in the corner sipping on his wine, like
but you just did Creed with him. He ain't even say nothing about him. It's just so crazy. But it is what it is when it comes to that. So back to Tupac, I will say that when you watch this documentary, if you didn't already see it, that interview with him at his school when he's 17, you're like, this is a 17-year-old speaking. It just spoke to who he could have really become had he not had that untimely, death, because he really definitely had a lot of, he was before his time, so to speak,
way before his time.
Yeah.
Before his time.
Yes.
I think that was one thing that stood out to me most. In my opinion, I think him and his mother both were way before their time. They had an idea of freedom. Oh, and one thing, I wrote it down. One thing that one of the gentlemen was saying that, he really, took from Tupac's mom, Afina, was that freedom is, oh man, y'all, I wrote it down somewhere. I'm sorry. It's a blank canvas, is what she said. Freedom is like a blank canvas, and you don't know what to draw or what to put on it when all you know is bondage.
Yeah, how she kind of added to that too was she added to that when it comes, she said, pretty much what is freedom, and I forgot the other part that she put in, but she said,
abstract. That's what she said.
Yeah,
abstract.
freedom is like if you're a person that is hungry, and you get some
Food is your
food,
freedom.
that's your freedom.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're a person that needs housing and you get somewhere to live, that's your freedom. And so that's why she said freedom is different to everybody. You can't put freedom in a box, okay?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
depending on the state that you are currently in, when you get that thing you're looking for, that's your
That's
freedom.
your
Okay.
freedom. Yeah.
So if I already have food to eat and I got a home or whatever, and somebody offer me that, that's no freedom to me. That's no uplift to me because I don't need that. I'm already at that level. It goes back to, I want to say, y'all gotta remind me, was it science class or where we learned about the hierarchy, Maslow's hierarchy, of living, right? And
Right.
at the it was science, and at the bottom it said, the first thing is food, water, and housing. You cannot get to the peak of any level until you have secured how you're gonna eat, where you're gonna live,
The
and
basics.
that the basics, right? I can't get all the way to the top and I'm not even secure in my basics, right? And you're gonna stay down stuck at your basics until you secure that. Yes, she was a very extremely, yes,
Very smart.
extremely smart woman. Very smart woman. I mean, when you can defend yourself in your own court case and win, that speaks volumes.
I would slap on there brilliant. She was brilliant.
Definitely.
Because not only did she defend herself, she defended other party people in the party
Yes, she
who
did.
did not have defense.
Yes, she did. She wasn't playing that part right there. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. So, we'll go on and tell a little bit more. Thank you. Yes. Yes, that's part of the top there. We'll go on and tell a little bit more, but I definitely say this. If you ask me, is it worth watching? And I just saw the first two episodes, I'm gonna say absolutely yes. But you have to be a Tupac fan. Because a lot of the first two episodes, they deal a lot with the mom and the Black Panthers in that particular story. But if you get through it, because in the footage is him. There's a lot of footage where it's actually him.
I was
And
shocked by that.
yeah,
Like it was almost like if it was like present day time, the way social media is today, the way
yeah,
that he
that's
just
true.
always recorded himself and had film all the time. Like that was amazing. Advanced above his time.
That's true. Can I tell you this though, Roy? 50 Cent did the same thing.
Well,
50 Cent did it, and who was the other one? Oh, Kanye West. Kanye West. So these are, and I do believe, and I'm still pondering in my head. I want to say, was her name Adele from last night, or you wasn't on? She talked a lot about mental illness, and you know what? And I connected with her, and I'm still pondering in my head about some of the things she talked about. But I will say this: Kanye West, people, I don't want people to get lost if I say genius, right? But Kanye West is definitely extremely intelligent, but has some mental issues connected to that, right? And I'm gonna say Tupac, extremely intelligent, but had that other militant side of him
but
that
see, that's
overtook
different.
the things. Go
That's
ahead.
different. See, to me, Kanye, he don't have no book sense. Like, or he has book sense but no common sense. He don't have common sense
Mm.
because he's the stuff that he does. It's yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But that's another dad's topic for another day.
Yeah, well, but see, here's the thing though. Like, Kanye West, they did a documentary, a little docu-series or whatever on him. I forgot what the name of it was because I watched that too, right? And
Uh-huh.
so what I'm saying is that Kanye West, before he's another one.
Oh,
Mother, his
before
mother,
the
his mother was everything. His
okay.
mother reminds me a lot of Tupac Shakur's mother, right?
Mhm.
Because his mother, Kanye West's mother, instilled in him, believe in yourself. Now, did his believe in himself, maybe did it go real far? It might have, but I will definitely say this: his believe in himself, he wouldn't have got in where he is today without his mother instilling all of that in him. He just never gave up. So my point is to not get so far off track. Kanye West, before anybody knew his name, when he was trying to do the come up, he was filming himself.
Mm.
He knew he was going to make it. He never doubted himself. No matter how many doors closed on him, he kept going. Can somebody remind me what was the name of the Kanye West documentary? Hey, thanks for joining, Qualasia. Kanye has an abstract mind. Yes, he uses a different lobe of his brain to view the world. Some call it genius. I like that. You summed that up for me really well, because sometimes I need help saying the words, okay? But you summed that up very well. So, and I feel like that is the same way with Tupac. But I'm telling y'all, and
It's
hopefully
called genius.
it's called genius. Okay. Okay. Well, and I will say that it's just when we say genius, it doesn't have to necessarily mean that everything you do is so smart, but he definitely was genius in several aspects of his life, because a lot of people, they look back and be like, "Oh, I wish I would have recorded that so y'all could know where I came from and the journey that I came." He knew where he was going. He knew where he was going, and he was filming it, like I said, before anybody knew his name. Okay. Oh yeah, so she said some call it genius. Okay, yeah, that was the name of it. Yes. Tupac was into Shakespeare too. He was also a fan of a video by Kate Bush. Okay, and he was just a very misunderstood guy, but he was a genius when it came to his music and movies. And Rebels 42, you are correct, because even the guy that did this documentary, he went to, what was the movie that Tupac was in, that
Menace to Society.
not Menace to Society, because he wasn't in that. Because remember, they fought, and that's why he
Oh
ended up
yeah, that's why he wasn't in it.
in the movie. Um, darn it, what is the movie? I was
Juice.
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 In Juice, when he wasn't even going to audition for Juice, he went with the because it was his friend, the producer of this documentary. They went there together, and then when the producer saw that the role of his character, he said to Tupac, "You need to," yes, thank you guys. He said, "You need to go audition for the role." When Tupac was in the room auditioning for the role, he said all he heard outside the door was everybody clapping and giving him praise, because that's how amazing he was in the audition.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
they I'll say this, and then I'm sorry, Ray, I'll let you go. Now, when it came to Menace to Society, he was supposed to play the Muslim character. But what he didn't, but the Muslim character, however they wrote it, Tupac was like, "No, I'm not going to play the character the way you wrote it. You need to tell the backstory of that character, and then tell how I got to that point, and then I'll play it." Right? And so, and then the producer at the time said that's how they got into a fight. That's how they got into the fight that broke up their friendship, because he was like, "Nah, I'm not changing it. This is the character. This is what it is. So you need to knock it off." And then him and Tupac got into it, and Tupac called him a B. The guy called him a B, and he said, "If you see a B, then slap a B." And so it just went down from there. And those two started fighting, and it was the demise of their relationship, which is so sad. But yeah, good thing, absolutely, Diva. Yeah, and yes, gone too soon. Gone too soon. He would have been 52. And of course, y'all know I'm gonna tell you that's young, because I'm 53. Okay,
that
okay,
is young though. That
it
is young.
is. It
That's
is.
very young. But Diva, I think we should stop right here because
Yes,
we don't want to give away too much. We still want the people to go back and watch the
right.
show. And we want y'all to join us here for part 2 so that we can keep the conversation going. Or yeah, the second part of this, so we can keep the conversation going. Any takeaways, Diva, that you took away that you didn't know? Like anything that was like,
Yes,
ooh.
yes. Ooh, I would definitely tell you that. Danielle, I like what you're saying here. Kanye and Tupac both are Geminis, LOL. But on a serious note, genius is neither good, bad or good. It simply means intellectually creative. You know what, Danielle? That's why we like when y'all here, because y'all be giving the words, and I appreciate that. And if people start looking at it like that, they wouldn't be so quick to say, oh, that person's not a genius or this person's not a genius. So I'm glad that you say that. I'll just take a couple more things here. Yeah, Kanye West's mom, Donda, was an English professor. Yeah, very smart. She instilled a lot of confidence in him. And I think that's a great thing that you can do for your child. You want to put a confident child out in the world, right? Diva, is that a weed plant?
I'm so dead.
Oh my God, that is too funny.
Oh,
No, you
please.
know what's funny? They call this a money tree. If you go, like, I got it at my local supermarket, but in the supermarket they call it a money tree, honey. I gotta bring the goodness into my life and the money and the dollars. But no, it's not a weed tree, it's a money tree. But this one, she over here trying to leave me. She need to stop and wake her behind up. The other one trying to leave me, okay? But no, there should be more buzz about this. It should. But I think because some people don't like, Tupac in the story because it's connected to his mom that's a Black Panther, they brushing it under the rug, which is really unfair. Geminis are awesome. Prince was a Gemini too, and so is Lauryn Hill. All right, shout out to the Geminis, I
The
guess. All right.
DGS comment real quick.
Oh yeah, which we
There
go
should
where?
be where she talked about there should be more buzz behind this. There
Yeah,
definitely should be more buzz behind this. This really tells a story that needs to be told to the world.
yeah.
I think yet again we have found that so many of our community, the Black community, who have made such a difference in our society, have been brushed under the rug, aka the Patient's Bill of Rights. I, never, never in my 28 years of being on this earth have I heard of the Black Panthers and Alfina's team helping to make that a reality for us today. This is stuff that's still sticking with us to this very day. And
Mm-hmm.
look at us that have been through a pandemic, who have had health issues, who don't have insurance. There's so many people out here who don't have insurance and
Mm-hmm.
don't have the affordability to, go to the hospital themselves. But because of the sacrifices that they made those sacrifices. In the words of Nene, they walked through the door, opened the door so that we can walk through.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Yeah, that was definitely an amazing takeaway for me. I'm DGF. I love this. I love that you're saying this, right? Both mothers had command of language and words passed on to their sons. 100%. 100%. Oh, they did school breakfast too? Come on now. Come
Yes.
on now.
Yes, the Black Panthers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Come on now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Dr. Love, no way.
Wow.
No way. Oh, Dr. Love, then you know what? We'll announce early when we're going to do the next two episodes. You definitely, it's going to be on Roy's channel. Please come up and talk to us.
Yes.
Please come up and talk to us. And I will say there is a Black Panther. He's older. He's in there. He talks about Tupac's mom, and he still was teary-eyed. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of touching moments. There's a lot of moments that are sad. I really feel like y'all gonna enjoy it. I hope y'all watch so that And then when we do the fifth episode, so we won't do that one separately. You know why we're here? Then
Gonna
we'll
bring the
drop
people in.
we'll drop the link and let
We
them.
love when the people come through the building, baby. We love it.
We're doing it 8 p.m. We'll tell you ahead of time so
Mm-hmm.
that you know, because we're not sure what day yet because we got to watch the other two episodes. We like to keep it fresh in our head so it's not all like running like together. That's why we decided to do the two first. So you asked me about the takeaways. So my takeaway from this is so much, but I'm gonna tell you what touched my soul the most. It's a
Dr. Love, Hulu and FX, excuse me.
yeah.
Hulu or FX.
Yeah.
That's the network that it comes on.
Yeah.
And Diva, it's on FX 10 p.m. I had looked it up. We had made a mistake.
Okay.
FX on at 10 p.m. on Fridays, and then those following episodes will drop on Hulu Saturday. So you could catch them on Saturday if you don't have FX on your television.
Okay, listen, I do feel the Black Panthers would have made more, and that's why they was more of an impact, and that's why they was dismantled. I agree with you 100%. Y'all gonna stop with the knowledge here. Stop the madness. They started the WIC program.
And that makes sense now, Diva, because they were saying in the it was so much going on in the
Right.
show. But they were saying, one of the activists were saying that a lot of the white people were on public services that they did not need to be on, and which did not allow the Black people who needed to be on the services, public health, to get on them. And so they had to start, what did she just have up there?
It's WIC.
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 Mm-hmm.
Good God.
But y'all, that's why you gotta watch, y'all, because there's so many little small details that we can't catch all to put in this one video.
Right.
You just gotta go back and watch. And this was a learning lesson for me. Outside of being more so about Tupac, because like I said, I'm not really into the hip hop of it all. It was a great history experience, and to see how much him and his family, brought to society to help make a change.
Yeah. So Rebel, and then we're gonna close this out. Some people do not want to understand the difference between reality and fantasy when it comes to lyrics that are so hardcore. Well, we'll get into that. We'll get into that, because also, listen, believe it or not, y'all, I took my mom to see wait I love this show. I love Glow. Hey, good boy, Glow. Okay, Glow was a piece of work. She said, let me tell you.
With her ashtray and her cigarette.
Child, okay, we got so much to tell y'all when we break down the next 2 episodes, because yes, Tupac's aunt, and her name is Glow, and it's his mom's sister. Oh, she's in there, and she is a piece of work. Okay,
but she said, "What I won't do is sit here and blow smoke up my sister's behind." Now I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. Now I won't talk about her to her face, but I'm gonna tell y'all about my sister.
Yeah, she was giving it to us straight, boy. Giving it to us straight. So, but what I wanted to say was that I feel like this, when I see him, I just feel like I felt so sad in a sense that you can have this innocent person come into the world, and then their circumstances can change them, and their whole life can get turned upside down as a result of those circumstances changing them. I mean, that man knew how to write. He was definitely an amazing actor, and he had a good soul at the core of him. And his energy to want to fight for the Black people, it came from, like you said, Warrior, his mother being a Black Panther and kind of was concerned about the community. And I'll close out by saying this. He buys his mother a house, and his mother is just beyond grateful. Beyond grateful. So I hope we gave y'all enough to give y'all interest and want to go watch it. Like I said, it's not like a sequential order type of thing, but it's packed with a lot of information. I do think he should have pieced it together a little better, but I still like the fact that he gave it to us. Good boy, he's so funny. Thank you so much, good boy, for the super check sticker. Art Glow said Alfini wore her out.
She did. She said she was getting on my nerves, but I had to stick by my sister because that was my baby sister. That's what she did. She stuck by her sister.
She stuck by her sister. So yes, I really do. Thank you so much, good boy, and thank you for stopping by. Thanks everybody for stopping by. Thanks, Malika. Thank you, everyone. I was one of those type of kids. Oh, Rebel, you got to tell us more. What do you mean? Is that why your name is Rebel? Child, you gotta tell us more. You gotta
tell us over troops and leaping over walls, okay?
Okay. So Brick City said there's no real documentary on the 21 Panthers, and the other 20 members from the 21 members never spoke, which makes me believe they could have been government informants.
Mm.
Mm, I don't, okay. But I will say this, one of the Black Panthers is definitely in the movie, and he got teary-eyed at the end. I was like, okay, this little documentary trying to take me out. But I liked it. So right now, I know we only saw 2 episodes. Where you're out of a 1 to 5, what are you giving it?
On a 1 to 5, I'm gonna give it a 5.
Oh
Honestly,
wow,
I'm
man.
an honest 5. It screams unity. It
Yeah.
screams peace. It
Mm-hmm.
screams justice for us. And I love the fact that they did not just focus on the personal life
Yes.
of Mom and Tupac. We actually went into the reality of their everyday circumstances, where they came from, what they went through, and kind of where they ended up being. His mom became an activist and continued to fight on, though not a part of the Black Panthers, but she continued to fight on for the community and what she saw fit, you know, as a Black woman and as for her society to see. So it's a 5. I loved it. It was
Mm-hmm.
real. Everybody was in it. I mean, everybody was in it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Brick
Listen, guys.
City.
Listen, guys, I want to say thank you to everybody for being here. We will be recapping episode 3 and 4. We'll let you know when. I don't know if we're gonna wait a whole week or how we're gonna do it, but we'll let you know on both our community pages way ahead of time when we're gonna do the next 2 episodes and when we're gonna do the fifth one. But the fifth one, prepared to come up and chat with us, and be prepared to let us know what's your favorite rap song or what's your favorite Tupac song. We'll take either one. Okay, come on, summertime. Okay, with Will Smith. I'm trying to tell you, Mama said knock you out. Okay,
I'm
what you want,
screaming.
Roy? Salt and pepper, push it. What you want, Roy? What are you talking about? What you? I know you say you don't do rap,
I
right?
don't do the rap like that.
Mm.
If it ain't Beyonce, it ain't on my ears. So
Oh my
since
God.
we talking
But
about Beyonce, we'll say that it's Megan Thee Stallion and Beyonce's uh
you don't even know.
yeah, I don't know.
Wait,
Hip
wait,
hip
wait,
hop, dance.
well, Roy,
Yeah.
I know you a Beyonce fan. Can you tell her to pay her two?
We ain't talking about that. Y'all have a good night.
Tell B.
What you won't do is drag my girl on this computer. I will log off before I sit here and let you do that. You will be sitting up here by yourself.
Tell B to pay her taxes. Anyway, guys, we love y'all and thank you for being here. If you didn't hit that like button on the way in, hit it on the way out. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you Friday night. We are doing our podcast over there on Roy Ayers World, and we got a good lineup for you. Okay. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Come on, G Mom 4. Mama said knock you out. Ah!
Savage. That's the song. Savage. Remixed with
Savage.
Beyonce and Megan Thee Stallion.
You had to think about it. But anywho, all right, y'all. Good night, y'all.
Good night,
Bye.
everybody.